Hello, everyone. We are on a 7-day cruise on the Disney Wish.
The Disney Wish only does 3 and 4 night sailings at them.
We're on a 3-day and a 4-day.
Back-to-back is what it sounds like. You're doing 2 cruises in a row on the same ship, whether or not you're in the same cabin. Generally, people try to stay in the same cabin because then you don't have to pack up and then unpack again, and you can stay in the same spot. We've done this once before, also on a Disney ship. It was a Disney Magic, and on that one, we purposely did 2 different rooms so that we could get 2 different room tours. This one, however, we booked this cruise last minute as a
last minute
like 2 weeks ago for mental health reasons, because it was needed, because this cruise is really about restoration and just relaxing and stepping away from the Washington DC bubble and all the things that are there.
We decided to come here and do this.
We decided that we weren't going to try to do 2 room tours. Instead, we are going to stay in one room because, it's just easier that way. When you're on a back-to-back, typically, you have to leave the ship like everyone else. You go through customs, but you don't have to bring all your suitcases and stuff.
They give you a special little pass, and once that they're ready to reboard, you basically board before everyone else. After the concierge club people, of course. So, yeah.
No, actually, the back-to-backs folks go first.
Oh,
before concierge.
They do? Oh.
Yeah. Why Adam was thinking it was after is because another category of people are the side-by-sides. That's where you are going on 2 different Disney cruises that are, back-to-back. However, you're changing boats. So, for example, you could have gotten off of the Disney Magic, which was in port at the same time. That's what these folks were doing. And then they, help you get your stuff over to Disney Wish, and then you do the cruise on the Disney Wish. And so those were side-by-side cruisers. So the order was back-to-backers, and then some wait, and then concierge, and then some wait, and then back-to-backers, and then some wait, and then the everybody else, including us, right? What we learned from that last cruise, and it seems to be bearing true on this one too, is that the 3-day cruise and the 4-day cruise is a very different vibe.
Right. 2-day sailing cruisers are much more rushed, it seems like, because they have to get Nassau, Castaway Cay, and
go home. There's no sea day on a 3-day. There's no time to really enjoy the ship. Right. There's a lot of very stressed people on the other side of that door. Today, we decided to kind of try to stay away from the crowds, right? Give them the opportunity to see the things on the ship because they're not going to have the chance, right? And because everything was crowded. The deck was crowded. I mean, the pool deck is always crowded on a sea day. I mean, on an embarkation day. But
it seemed a lot more crowded today, and I didn't even try to go to the Castaway sail away party because it was just like, it was just a lot. Yeah. But we're going to try the experience for the 3-day, and then at the end of the 3 days, we're going to get off, get back on the boat for another 4-day. So we have a total of 7 days on the Disney Wish.
3 days later.
It is the last cruise day, and we are about to head to breakfast. After that, we're supposed to meet in the Bayou Restaurant Lounge for them to let us know the next steps on doing our back-to-back.
So we are here in the Bayou Lounge. So we have about 15 minutes or so, and then they will escort us off the ship.
And then, we'll see how that goes. There are, I don't know, I expected more people to do back-to-backs, but it just seems like there's about, 40 people in here or so, I guess. So, we'll see how it goes.
You expected it to be more than this?
Yeah, for some reason I expected it to be more than this.
Why?
I don't know. I just thought that maybe it would be like, more. I don't know.
Okay. I don't think it's all that common. I'm not sure why you think it is very common.
Okay. All right.
And at this time, all our guests are required to disembark. We thank you for sailing with us.
It's interesting to me when they do the announcements, they go from, you may get off the ship. You're invited to get off the ship. So you get off the ship. And that was just you're required to get off the ship, get off the ship. We are staying put because we're in the spot that we're supposed to be in. They did note that a lot of services are not available in between while we're on the ship and no one else is, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But Marceline Market is available for coffee and beverages until noon.
services are closed, of course, because we're in port. No buying no more Mickey hats and stuff like
Shops are
that.
closed.
Or like coffee stands and lounges and stuff are open. So, yeah, we just have to
I
wait.
don't know if all the coffee's closed. There usually is coffee open for a while.
Okay.
So the coffee, so coffee is available. Free coffee, paid coffee is usually available for a while. Probably about now they're closing down, right? Because they just told everybody to get off. So probably now is when they're closing. Food service opens at noon. Embarkation Day lunch is at noon or starts at noon. The Marseille Market, I believe, opens at noon for a meal. So things start coming back online at noon. So it's not that long that things are down. I had originally thought that I would go to the spa and things like that, but we might be doing a room change. And well, either way, we have to unpack. We either have to unpack in our same room or we have to unpack in a new room because we packed up.
Yeah.
So, because they asked us to. So we will see what happens when we do that.
Yeah. So right now we're just chilling, waiting. Should have about 8 more minutes before supposedly a Disney crew member is going to come get us or tell us to get off the ship.
It is 9:42, and they came to escort us out to the terminal so that we can do the back-to-back transition. They also let us know that they were able to change our rooms, so it looks like now we're in a family Ocean View stateroom with veranda that is wheelchair accessible, so we will get another room tour out of it too, so that's nice.
Right now we're waiting to get off the ship. They took our CPAS cards and said that we get them back later because we're doing them back to back. We're going to get a new CPAS card after we go to the terminal, and then we go through customs again, wait, and get back on. As you see, there's several people here still.
And the tooth fairy took. That's how I know.
Alright, so we are heading off the ship finally at 9:53. When exiting, there is a very sloped ramp, but it is accessible. It kind of reminds me of getting off certain rides at Disney World.
So we just got through CBP, Customs and Border Protection, Security. We did the Face ID thingy to help us get through quicker. There's no one else in the terminal. It's really, really quiet in here. And right now we're waiting for the last people to come through. Some people had their birth certificates instead of their passports, so I think we're waiting on them now.
Now that we went through customs, which was very quick because we have passports. So they just did face identification. We didn't even have to take our passports out. So, but you should have them handy just in case. And then we are back in the terminal where you check in, and we're going to check back in for our next sailing and then go sit in the waiting area for further instruction. It's 11 o'clock and we are headed back on the ship. Not that I need any convincing, but I just learned that when you are on a back-to-back, lattes and specialty coffee at Marseille Market are free until 12 o'clock. So, cheers. I'm in a funk, and I have been since the muster drill.
I don't know why.
I decided to go book myself a massage to give myself a reason to get out of the room. And maybe that'll put me in a better mood.
Later.
A long day.
Yeah, a long day today. That process was very interesting, and it was much smoother than I expected. We got letters several days ago telling us what they expected us to do and where we need to go. So we said we had to meet inside one of the lounges, the Bayou Lounge, at 9:15. They took us off the boat. We showed our passports. Basically, we looked at the little scanner machine as if you're coming back to the country.
That is only available if you have a passport and you've gone through that system. I think the first port we ever did that in was Miami, and it was pretty neat because it was and Miami's was fast. This one, people had to stop and wait. Miami's, it was like going through the Easy Pass on the highway. You just went and it figured it out. If you don't travel with a passport,
birth
this is number
certificate
875, why you should always travel with a passport. You actually have to go through a much longer process.
We checked in again. At this time, they informed us that we had a new room because of our previous issues.
Oh, what happened?
Yes, they did. Did they tell us at the check-in desk?
No. We were sitting in the Bayou Lounge. I went to the bathroom. When I came back,
yes, I did
there was a
text
gentleman
you.
talking to you, an officer letting you know
My
that we got a
bad.
new room.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you texted me the room number.
Okay.
This is your memory. Why do I have to tell you about it?
Okay. Forget all that, what we just said. So we went to the desk. We showed her our passports again. And so
Yeah, Disney wants to see him, even though CBP didn't need to.
they scanned our magic bands. And then they said, all right, wait for the stuff to happen.
So just to correct the record, they weren't scanning your magic band. They were reprogramming your magic band. So unlike the magic band, and these aren't even called magic bands when you're on a ship, it's called a Disney Plus band or something like this, or Disney band. So unlike the parks where your band is your band, and no matter how many times you show up at the park on whatever tickets, it's going to work for you. That's not how they work on Disney Cruise Line. They have to be programmed for each and every sailing. And so even though we had just got off, they needed to reprogram it again. And so that's why we gave them the magic bands. If they don't remind you or ask you, do you have a Disney band, then you're going to remember to say, hey, can you update this so that I can use it again?
If you get a magic band, it's highly recommended that you get a magic band. It makes a lot of things a lot easier in my mind.
I hadn't until this moment thought about the fact that the magic band really is a accessibility tool. For the average person, the magic band is a nice to have. It's, not necessarily worth the extra expense just to have it because you can just use your card and put your card in your lanyard and all of that. But if you're someone for whom struggling with cards and trying to pull them out of things,
Or fine motor control, fingers and stuff.
that's what I was saying, yeah, then being able to just tap your wrists is going to be a lot easier. So yeah, if you have any kind of dexterity, anything, get the magic band. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it is a fantastic accessibility option. And if you are someone who hits their arms a lot because the control's not great, and so therefore you accidentally make it fall off, get one of these. This is one that we got from Disney World for being annual pass holders, but Built Belt and some others sell them on Amazon, and basically it just keeps it more secure so that it doesn't pop off and you don't lose it somewhere. We had to pack last night and this morning, which is part of why it's been such a long day, and then leave the bags in our original room. And then so when we got to this room, the bags were there.
Yep.
And we, so then we had to unpack and all of this. The process wasn't bad. I will, one thing to just, note is that it is a lot of walking. So Terminal 10 is the new terminal that Disney Cruise Line uses. They've been using 8 forever. That's the one with the big Mickey head where you walk through the thing. And that terminal is like nice and compact and, but for
Terminal
the
10?
Wish now, they're going out of Terminal 10. And someone described it as far less magical. And I was like, it's a terminal, but yeah, it's less magical.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of walking. It's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And so for my semi-ambulatory friends, for my folks who, just don't like to do a whole lot of walking, know that it's a lot. I mean, so what they've done is instead of having like stairs and elevators, it's just a ton of these ramps that like you're going back and forth 3 times to get up 2 levels. And it's just a lot of walking.
Yeah.
And so theoretically it's more accessible because there are no stairs. Everyone's doing the exact same thing. But holy moly, is it a lot of walking. So just, wear good shoes. Don't put on the silly flip-flops if you're doing a turnaround day because it's a lot of walking. So that's the only, but other than that, the process was pretty smooth. And then the rest of the day, I was fighting with technology and losing. I did get 2 free lattes because on turnaround day before noon, you get free lattes. So that was awesome. And I did go get a massage, and that made me feel a lot better.
Several days later.
Today is day 6 of 7 of our back-to-back.
We did a back-to-back mostly because we wanted 7 days.
Yeah.
Because
that's how we know we travel. Normally travel 7 days is what we like to do. It's just prefer that extended time to basically get on the ship, relax, then do your vacation. The short 3-day and 4-day ones are great for starters, I think. But for us, we like the whole 7-day vacation.
For sure. I will say so we're going to give you some of our sort of initial thoughts on having done the 3-day, done the back-to-back and whether we would recommend it. And no, we haven't traded notes. So, this is just going to be what it's going to be. So I will say that I don't prefer this to a 7-day. I would much rather prefer a 7-day. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First, price. It's more expensive to do it this way. So there's that. Also, it doesn't feel cohesive. There are some things you can do to make it feel more like that. Being in the same room, which we tried. It didn't work out, but we did try to stay in the same room, which would then have likely been the same stateroom hosts, and so there was that continuity there. At dinner, the head waiter came over and asked us if we wanted to stay with the same table and same team, and we said yes because they were fantastic.
They knew us. Yeah.
Roman was great. He's done a lot of ships. Honestly, at first he had me a little nervous because he wasn't anxious about my allergies, and that was freaking me out. But he did a great job. I didn't get sick. So it's just, he was very confident because he knew what he was doing. But at first I was like, oh no, we're going to have a problem. Yeah. But no, he just knew what he was doing. And I didn't have to repeat all of my allergies again with a new team because I was able to stay, with the same team. So those things help. But it still feels like you're starting over, and that middle day feels like a lot of drama.
Waste.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a bit of a wasted day. I mean, it's not, in that you do get some extra time on the ship, but not a ton. There was a lot of sitting, right? So we went to breakfast, and then we went to Bayou, and we sat there for like an hour. We went through security. That was fine. No issues there. Then they sat us in chairs, and they had us wait for a while. So it's not. It just felt hassly,
right.
And I think it was extra hassly because we changed rooms, but it was fine.
It was fine. The crowd. Okay, so going back to the I guess 3-day and 4-day. I think we noticed a different type of crowds versus 3 versus 4-day. The 3-day ones seem more rushed, I guess. The people seem more rushed. There's only everything was always busy, and I think because it's a 3-day, we have people trying to get their money's worth. I think there's a lot of children, a lot of kids, because I believe it's on a weekend. It's from Friday to Sunday. So
Monday, but yeah.
Sunday to Monday, so the kids only have to take maybe 1 day off or maybe 2.
Summertime, but yes.
Oh, but yeah. So it seems like there's a lot more children on the first half of the trip versus the second half. So
I don't think there was more children. I feel like the amount of children was pretty similar. I just felt like people were crankier. I felt like the children were a little more hyper, a little less behaved. I felt like the parents were, because they were under such pressure to try to do everything, people can get a little selfish, and there was more like jumping in elevators in front of us when we clearly had been waiting longer and are in a wheelchair, or things like that it's just like, okay, people, I get that you are anxious to get everything done, but you also need to remember common decency.
Right.
The 4-day with the C-day I feel like that's just enough that people don't feel like they're in a panic and forgetting themselves. My sister often says about Disney World that like people forget themselves. They all of a sudden become monsters when they're at Disney World and they're like tripping over people and being mean.
Yeah.
And it's because they spent so much money. And the same thing happens on a 3-day cruise. It's the worst of vacationers on the 3-day cruise. And so you need to pack your patience.
Right.
And I found myself pushing a lot of things into the 4-day because I just didn't want to deal with cranky, impatient people. And I was like, let them get their things because they're on a 3-day and they're anxious.
Not that you won't enjoy a 3-day. I think if you want to start cruising, a 3-day cruise is probably just to get your feet wet. Get your feet wet in terms of like how the cruising works, how it experiences, what it is. It's a short cruise. You go to Nassau, you go to Coco Cay, and then come back. So you get to experience like traveling out there and doing that. So a 3-day cruise, I'm not saying that don't ever do it, but just be aware that, hey, if you do come out, you're gonna have to be just pack your patience and take your time and enjoy the short amount of time that you have.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. If I had a family with a bunch of young kids, able-bodied, who just wanted to try out cruising, I'd be like, yeah, let's try that 3-day cruise for you, and let's see how that goes. If I had a family with disabilities, and I'm going to ask them, do your disabilities impact your stamina? And if that answer is yes, I'm going to advise against a 3-day. Because in addition to cranky people and everybody anxious and all that, you're also going to want to be doing all the things. And you're not going to have any downtime.
Yeah.
And that's going to make for a tough cruise. I mean, part of why we don't do cruises less than 7 days, unless we absolutely have to, is because the stamina thing. Like, we need time to chill. Yeah. After two long travel days, right? Because it's always 2 days because we got to come down a day early because wheelchairs get broken or random things, and so it's okay. So because we come down a day early and then we're traveling from from wherever we're staying to the cruise and the embarkation process and all of that, that's 2 long travel days. We need a down day. Right? Yeah. And so then if we only had 2 days left, right? Or really 1 day left, right? Because like if the embarkation day is a day and then you have a down day and then you've only got 1 day left on a 3-day. So I would, really caution anybody who needs downtime from doing a 3-day cruise, unless you're going to do take it as a cruise to nowhere. Which is what I did for this cruise, frankly, because that's what I needed. I didn't need beach time. I didn't need to go see Nassau for the 40th time. I needed to relax.
Yeah.
And I needed to not have any jobs. And I needed to be able to disconnect and not feel guilty about it. And so I never left the boat. And it was lovely.
You enjoyed it, yeah.
I enjoyed myself quite a bit. I mean, I'm ready to go home, but I enjoyed myself. So if you're doing a cruise to nowhere, maybe. But then again, maybe if you're local. But honestly, if you need a down day, just be careful with the 3-day.
Yeah.
The 3-day, because the 3-day is really a day and a half. And you just need to right, because the first day isn't a day. It is getting lost. It is finding your cabin. It is trying to unpack. It's figuring out where your stuff is. It's waiting for your bag. It is setting up.
As long as that's been pulled by security, so.
That. I mean, it's a lot of things. And so it's just short. But going back to the back-to-back, I think that if I really wanted to check out a ship, which is what happened, right? Like we wanted a break, but we also wanted to go on a ship that we hadn't gone on before, both for video content, largely for video content, but also for the experience. And this ship only does 3 and 4 day sailings. There might be a 5-day every once in a while, but it's really only 3
Yeah.
and 4-day sailings. And so the only way to try this ship is to do, a short sailing. And so you can do a back-to-back, you can do a side-to-side, but we were like, so that's why we did that.
Overall, I think it was a very unique experience, a fun experience. Will we do it again? I don't think so.
Wouldn't go out of our way to do it. No, I mean, so we are scheduled on the Destiny, and that's a 5-day. I wish it was a 7-day, but it's 5-day. We're not going to do that as a back-to-back. We're just going to do that. But yeah, I mean, I would do a back-to-back again. I just, it needs to be under the right circumstances. But they do make the process as easy as it could be.
Yeah.
You do have to get off and go through customs again, but that's the law. You can't get around that.
If you need help trying to plan something like this, or any other trip to Walt Disney World or a cruise or anything like that, reach out to Brooke and she can help you plan and do all this stuff, because it's not always easy, but yeah, we have an expert like her. She can help you plan and do all that for you.
My goal is to make sure that everybody in your travel party has access to a great vacation. And so we will work together to make that happen. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting. And until next time,
Stay strong
get creative.
and keep exploring.
We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.